Hello, and welcome back to Mecha of the Day. Been a while, huh? Today, we will take a look at Golion, as well as the American adaptation Voltron. Beast King Golion was a super robot show that aired in Japan from 1981 to 1982, with a total of 52 episodes. It was directed by Katsuhiko Taguchi, produced by Itaru Orita, and written by Suzumu Takahisa. Thousands of years ago, the robot known as Golion was once an arrogant robot that fought in countless battles and was deemed almost unstoppable. One day, however, he decided to challenge the goddess of the universe and failed. To teach him humility, the goddess separates him into 5 pieces in the form of 5 lion robots that sailed through space and crash landed on the planet Altea to lay in wait until he would be reawakened. Thousands of years later, in 1999, when the planet Altea is subdued and enslaved by the Gaura Empire, led by the sadistic Emperor Daibazol, 5 space pilots return to Earth to find the planet annihilated by a thermonuclear war. Eventually, the explorers are captured and enslaved, being forced to fight for their lives in Daibazol's arena. They eventually escape and land on Altea, where they meet the ruler of the kingdom of Altea, Princess Fala, her advisor Ribal, and discover the secret of the mighty sentient robot Golion, which was the only weapon strong enough to defeat Daibazol's army. The young pilots will become the operators of the 5 lions that form the mighty robot, and together, with the help of Princess Fala, they seek to end the tyranny of the Gaura Empire. This story might sound familiar to you, and that's because it is. As far as innovation goes, Golion doesn't really offer much to speak of. You have the combining robot, you have the pilots with the different personalities and stereotypes, the evil empire that seeks nothing but total chaos, the princess, the monster of the week. It was very much like most of the other shows that came out during that time. I only found a few things in Golion that are genuinely interesting, like how the very first monster in the series was actually smart enough to attack the team before they had a chance to form Golion. That rarely happens in most super robot shows, and just anime in general, honestly. The Golion itself doesn't possess anything that is new to a super robot, but the one thing it does have is that it could produce a force field to protect itself during the transformation sequence. Huh. Well, now I know where the barrier in Gal Gaigar originated from. I honestly don't have much else to say without spoiling because there's nothing else to say when it comes to Golion. In Japan, the show wasn't all that successful and pretty much became forgotten. In America, however, it is quite a different story. For those of you who grew up in the 80s, you may recall this show under a different name, that being Voltron, Defender of the Universe. The show was actually made up of 2 mecha anime. The first season uses Golion, while the second season uses Dairugger, which was entirely unrelated. The story of Voltron is pretty much a heavily edited version of Golion, with various things that were changed or just simply taken out. The characters all have different names to make it more appealing to the West, and any mentions or scenes depicting death or extreme violence were removed. The show became very popular here in the West, and is considered to be one of the big pioneers of the anime dubbing world, alongside Robotech. Today, Voltron is considered a cult classic in the West, and still gets attention today. In 2011, there was a short-lived pseudo-non-canon sequel, Voltron Force, which lasted about 25 episodes, and just recently, there is the Netflix exclusive Voltron Legendary Defender, which not only serves as a reboot to Voltron, but also Golion, as it has certain elements inspired from the original anime. All that being said, what would I recommend you do? For a newcomer to anything Golion and Voltron, I would say start off with watching the first season of Legendary Defender, as it is a standalone series that doesn't require prior knowledge of the franchise as a whole. Voltron Force should be approached with caution, as it is treated as a sequel to the original Voltron, meaning you will not be aware of what goes on. If you plan on watching the original Voltron, then be prepared for some hilariously bad voice acting and editing. It hasn't aged well at all, but I can't really complain since it was the 80s. As for Golion itself, well, aside from the fact that it's where Voltron originated from, it's pretty much your standard super robot show from the 80s. It's not a terrible show by any means. If you're looking for an 80s mecha anime to try and get into, then this might be a good choice for you, even though personally, I think there are better options out there. With that said, this is G Shadow, and I'll catch you all later. Glad to be back.